This game is amazing.
Yeah, the
It's
graphics are
definitely
just
one of the
great.
game's
It's,
biggest
yeah, the
biggest
graphics.
strengths.
It's the only thing. It's the only
The open
thing.
world's dungeons are
I
incredible.
mean, I guess the travel's good and stuff, but the only thing this game has is graphics.
As well, they go so deep. Two things that kind of kill Throne of Liberty for me. Number one is the real money auction house. I think that's just the fucking worst thing ever.
I forgot all about that, and I don't actually mind that.
And the combat
if I
just
can make
isn't
money
as
off
good
of
as
it. If I can make money off of it.
other MMOs. Grapple hook still feels like absolute shit, and I'm still desyncing around the world every time I use it. So the grapple hook's still absolute dog.
Yeah, that's how Last Oasis felt.
This game has like incredible potential.
The Halo grappling hook was, you could tell they worked on it really, like for Halo Infinite or whatever. Or no, the newest one, yeah, Halo Infinite or whatever it was. Like, that was an okay grappling hook. I actually played a lot of that game, like 75% of it or something, all the way through for the campaign. And the grappling hook was genuinely good, but then they limited it where you only get one every 30 seconds, which is so goddamn dumb. I wonder if they ever fixed that, because it did have like the best grappling hook I've ever used in a game out of Halo of all things.
But it is heavily...
Fucking Halo, but I mean, I'm not kidding. The Halo Infinite grappling hook was actually super good. I can show you proof of it. It was like the best grappling hook we've ever had. There was an old grappling hook in a game called James Bond Agent Under Fire in a multiplayer mode for the multi-tap on the PlayStation 2 that had a really superior fucking grappling hook way back in 2001 or something like that. And so I don't know why they can't do grappling hooks. They've had really genuinely good grappling hooks since like 2001. They just won't do them. They're incompetent or something. I don't know. Halo Infinite grappling hook. Tricks. Yeah, we'll do tricks because you can see some of the cool stuff that you can do. Yeah.
There's a lot of secret tricks you might not know that can give you the edge in Halo Infinite. So we put together a list of interesting stuff that can be done to help you gain the extra edge on the battlefield. So if you're enjoying Halo Infinite and want
I
to see more
liked
tips
Halo
from us,
Infinite. I thought it was like a 6.7.
let us know what to like. Here we go.
Which to me is playable. Most of these games fall around 4.
The grapple shot is one of the most versatile new additions to the Halo gameplay loop, pulling items to you, yourself to enemies, and latching onto the terrain to pull you across the map.
It's good enough. See, it wasn't amazing. It was just good enough. It was like a really, truly, genuinely good grapple hook. I did not mind it.
Are underutilizing this when it comes to...
But then they put this terrible, terrible timer on it. You're going to see it.
You can't...
Yeah, so where's the grapple hook? Like, there's like some meter here. There it is. It's like this meter here, I think, or something like that.
Just like a plain old boring A to B grapple. You'll want to swing yourself, just like in Titanfall and Apex.
Yeah, but they limited it so bad. You have to wait. Like right about now, it comes back up. So you're like, what's the point? If I can't actually grapple again, what's the goddamn point? They ruined it.
Plex as respawns.
But the hook itself physically was sound. It was like basically sound. I didn't have a complaint with it the entire playthrough. It worked. The best grappling hook I've ever used.
Same grapple system, you want to keep a similar mindset.
Why don't we have more grappling hooks? I love grappling hooks.
As a grapple lands on a surface, turn your aim off of where you attached to move your body away.
Yeah, it was dope. It was actually truly really fun. See?
Slowly turn into the
Yeah, it had a whole like, you know, Titanfall thing in it.
Get a farther angled launch. Another secret tip I can give is to try and always be sprinting while grappling. You might be thinking, but why? Well, this lets you do a neat trick on the landing part of grappling. When sprinting, then grappling, and landing on a shallow enough angle...
See, what games need more of this, but see, they limited it way too much. They need like a Batman endless ammo fucking like grappling hook game.
The crouch will keep your momentum and
where
slide...
you're like...
you much
We've had it a couple of times, I think. I think Prototype had a kind of an okay grappling hook, if I recall.
Than by normally landing. When you have no high terrain around you, this can be combined with a grapple to the ground by holding up. Then
this was dope. This was actually really good.
Crouching as you land, this will super slide at unreal speed.
Yeah, this was like super good.
Useful for getting out of a sticky situation.
Yeah, get me out of here now. Slide, right? I liked that. I did like this game. It had good combat.
Spirit as Respawn's jump sling, without the jump. This is also going to be really useful in speeding up your travel on flat open ground in Halo Infinite's single-player campaign. And in situations where there's a grav lift, you can use grapples to throw off your enemies. Normally, grab...
Alright, I'm done with this dumb video. I think we got it.
let down by being very scuffed in certain places. These things are angry. I do love the new numbers though. The new damage numbers look absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, they do. They actually look okay.
Stunning damage numbers. Any thoughts on all the targeted content? I don't mind how they've
You
done
know,
it.
I think I tried to play mage or something, and I think maybe a melee might be better in this, or no, maybe I played spear. I can't remember.
The time-gated content, to be honest. It's only something that would be an issue if you play the game 24/7. And most people don't. And it's kind of interesting how the player base needs to unlock content by fulfilling certain conditions. Like the server and the story and the bosses that become available unlock.
The MSQ was not fun. It just like the talking was boring. It was not compelling. There was nothing about it that was even remotely memorable. The MSQ was a chore.
What the players have done to progress the world story, I think that's kind of interesting.
I'm back after finishing a job, but something went wrong.
It's a theme park, and that's my problem with it. It's a theme park. Like, WoW. I don't need another theme park. If I wanted to return to a theme park, I would go back to WoW Hardcore or whatever. I don't know. Yeah, we got all the stuff we wanted to do there. I'm gonna go back and chop trees.
Crap. He said he
Fucking hell.
tried to undo the transformation, but it wouldn't
See, this
work.
shit sucks.
You were the one who saved him? Thank you very much.
That's some scuffed voice acting. I feel like that's an adult voicing a kid or
It
something.
is. That's what they always do. Is they can't use kids. It's actually really hard to use a kid for voice acting, I think.
I heard you.
Voice like any child acting is actually difficult. You've got to like say it's like a play at their local school or something. Otherwise, they're like, oh well, we need lawyers and doctors and signs and signatures and.
He saved him. Thank you very much. Just a little.
Giving me a headache.
Every time that you hear some kid, even like Lisa Simpson and shit like this, Bart Simpson, that's Yeardley Smith. That's a 50, or well, at the time, she was like a 40 to 70-year-old woman for about 30 years. She was 40 till about 70 or something. By the end of it, she was too old to do the voice for Marge anymore. They had to replace her. But I mean, like, you know, that's a lady doing Lisa Simpson's voice. You know, that's a full-blown lady.
Yeah, I know how you feel, little bro. This process is giving me a headache as well.
Yeah.
Into the tomb. I think we're gonna have a boss fight. Feels like it. Defeat the guards. Alright, bit of combat.
Intruder detected.
Give me a boss.
Oh, I see lots and lots of people on horses.
That was scuffed. Sometimes with the blocking in this game, you'll block as the circle reaches the inner bit, but the attack won't actually go off when you block. It's very inconsistent. For me, this game looks like a 2017 MMO. What does a 2025 MMO look like? I think, like, as much as you can critique Throne, I think objectively it is one of the best looking MMOs. Sure, it is Unreal
Yeah,
Engine
like
4,
graphically it
but
is.
It's
Yeah.
unbelievable how well they've managed with the visuals.
You come back already? How did
Oh my god, that voice acting. Oh.
made it now with Lucky the adventure.
Did you come back already?
Prepare for the ritual.
Kid sounds like a fucking goblin. This is fun. Escorting an NPC. Fucking inject it into my veins. We need more quests like this. We need more quests where the
Inject
NPC
it into
runs
my
slower than
veins.
your run speed, but faster than your walking speed, and you have to follow him and kill one mob at a time. Why don't more MMOs do that? We need more of it. Big damage. Oh, we're interrupted. We got frozen.
That's cool that you actually get frozen. You know.
Trip. AoE damage. Dead.
Wait, does the combat look way better?
Ever since the elves
The two-hander looks good.
All the knowledge they inherited would eventually be lost due to their comparatively short human lifespans. A secret location called the Temple of Truth was built.
Wow.
Compiled knowledge was engraved in
How deep
stone
does this go?
and sealed off. Unfortunately, the hidden entrance was revealed during Deluge Noah's frenzy.
So I guess that's like the entrance to a grind spot. Yeah, Abyssal Contract applies. The open world dungeons in this game is like something from an isekai anime. Actually, like best in genre open world dungeons this game has. I kind of wish Ashes of Creation had an art style that looked like this.
Yeah.
This color palette. I love these colors.
Yeah.
If Ashes of
I
Creation
think this game's better than Ashes.
had Throne and Liberty visuals, man, I'd be happy. And the scale of the world in this game as well looks fantastic. The scale of these temples, the giant dungeons. It's really something that this game just does.
Graphically, it's
incredibly well.
fine. We all know that. I mean,
Oh
it's
my
got
God,
a
that
beautiful,
voice acting,
beautiful
though, that
skin,
Melvin kid.
but no meat, no
Wish I
meat
could
in the
peek your
pot.
NPCs.
Just bone.
I feel
That's
like
it.
the dash is a little bit better than it used to be. The precision dash, did they change that? Make it a bit more fluid. Let's see. No. But I'm not getting stuck on the environment like I used to. You just get killed. Sit down. I think he's dead.
Watch out! That one looks different from the others.
He's dead, little bro. It doesn't feel massively different. I wouldn't say if you dislike
This
the
combat is bad.
combat before, it doesn't feel
No, it's not like any different.
different enough that you'd change your mind on it. It just feels a little bit better. with
Very
the movement.
honest. This is why I like Peon. He's just, you know, reacting real time.
GG.
And I
Fucking, I need to put this in Japanese or Korean or something. That kid has killed the English voice acting for this entire MSQ. It's so bad that you would disable it just for that kid alone.
knew this would happen.
Shut up, you!
Please, can the kid die? Reminds you of the newest Monster Hunter where the kid wouldn't shut the fuck up. Yeah, I hated that kid. Still not even level 52 yet. Man, this is going to be a long MSQ. Oh, let's do a test.
You decided to wait.
Because before, you used to constantly get stuck when doing dash, when going up ground. And that hasn't happened since I've been playing now, so I think they might have fixed the dash. That rock before would have stopped my dash in its tracks. They've definitely improved that. Doing any form of dash. Fucking hell, we actually dodged over a gap. They've actually fixed the dash. Yeah, this is way better.
If you're in the resistance,
About tab targeting, I won't be able to tell if the targeting's better because for me, the place where that was the worst was in like guild vs guild content. That's where that felt really bad.
Like, the
It
flight's
wasn't too
cool.
bad in
I like the
normal
flight a
content.
lot, but I wish the game was
What's the
good.
game's population?
Yeah. Oh, I
Isn't it
bumped
like
my camera.
25k on Steam and then probably double that on console? About 50k players, I'd say. My server feels populated though, like I'm seeing loads of players around. This reminds me of Hydel in Black Desert in places. Bloody gorgeous town. I really do like this new area. As much as the movement is better when attacking, it does have you linger in one direction for longer than you'd want to. Like, it takes away your control sometimes. I'm trying to replicate it like that.
There, yeah, like
So
I can see it.
initiated the
It's
attack, I
janky.
changed direction, but my character continued sliding in the opposite direction, which felt fucking awful. I feel like that's a bug though. That can't be intentional. It wouldn't make sense for it to be. This NPC.
It's too linear. It's too like kind of just theme parky.
Locking the door. Yes. Oh, tier 2 gear. What do I want to go as with a warrior? I suppose it doesn't matter. I'll grab those later. Secret dungeons, halls of illusion. This is new. Interesting. Okay, is this like a solo dungeon? Needs to be level 55 though. Hopefully these are fun. And these also drop the rune things, as well as whatever this is. Artifacts.
What did you say, Ting? You should just go and find Jen. I suck.
Wait, what was that voice acting?
Yes.
Got a lot of British voice actors, haven't
It's
they?
South Korean games. This is how they are. Terra was like this. They're all like this.
That's some kind of puzzle.
They all sound like Genshin.
Okay.
You acquire the Twilight Flame. Now, burn the contaminated branch with it.
Holy voice acting. Grow the tree. I guess we need to make it daytime so the tree grows. Assuming it's not going to grow otherwise. Yeah.
A new branch that leads into the depths has grown.
Amazing. I think I realized why I hate like games with like cutscenes and linear story. I feel like I'm just going through the motions, and I just feel like, what's the point of going through a linear story?
Yeah,
in
like
a
what's the
game when I
point?
can just
Yeah, where you
like,
just
watch
like
a movie?
fight, like yeah,
like I'm such a gameplay focused gamer.
yeah, me too.
There are certain genres of games where I will not skip the cutscenes.
Yeah,
And I think the reason I don't, and it's different for some games, is it's like
horror. You don't ever skip horror.
multiple choice. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, for example.
Yeah, you don't skip
I feel
that at
like
all.
I
No.
would never even consider skipping the cutscene
No.
for that game because the cutscenes is gameplay. You're having a choice and you're impacting the story based on your choices. So games like that, I'm absolutely just perfectly happy to sit through the story and make the choices and watch everything. But linear story, where it's just NPCs talking, I just can't sit through it. I'd just rather skip it. But maybe some people can't do that. Maybe some people don't. Oh my god, NPC, shut the fuck up.
We'll keep collecting
Maybe some people
materials
don't play it that way. Actually, another exception of a game that I would never skip story in is like the GTA games. Any Rockstar game, I'm not skipping the story. But then again, it's on a different level, isn't it? You can't compare Rockstar story to MMO story. GTA 6 or Ashes of Creation. I'm looking forward to GTA 6 more than Ashes of Creation, I'm not gonna lie. It's been fucking years.
Yeah.
How long's it been since GTA 5? It's gotta be like over 10 years, right? So it's to collect barnacles whilst in aquatic form. There it is. You're just way too intense for what you're doing. It's because I'm in one of these zones that has one of these events going on. So what is it? Every hour there's some kind of event that goes on in the world. It's actually pretty cool. Pretty cool thing about this game. And we've got a co-op event here where people are doing various tasks. I'm pretty sure the music's not like this by
This game was not compelling to me like New World was. New World sucked me in pretty much immediately.
default. Wait, I want to see what happens if you get eaten by a shark. Eat me. Oh, I thought he was going to pop out of the water. Immersion ruined. Come on, shark. You don't want to eat this tasty little squirrel? They've put all this effort into the puzzle, and you can just walk through it. I thought I was going to get chomped. Explosive sharks. I probably need to lure the shark into the rock. Okay, shark. Come. Okay, and that's probably going to blow up the rock. Yeah. What are your thoughts? Return to the game. New area is absolutely gorgeous. And I really love the new damage numbers. The new damage numbers look fantastic. And the combat's got a few nice improvements, but nothing massive. Some kind of giant mine here. Have they got battlegrounds in this game yet? I think the new expansion actually added a lot of PvP content. You've got a 24 PvP island somewhere. Co-op dungeons, arena, lawless wilds. I guess that's it. War games. Maybe this is what I was thinking of. War games. Is that basically like a custom GVG mode? So war games are just GVG. They're not battlegrounds. Does anyone actually use the war games, or is it dead content? Build a user prime times. Okay. Defeat the henchman. Okay. How's the PvP scene in this game at the moment? Because the last time I played, on the Asian servers at least, there were mega alliances. It was like, it devolved into just two giant Zergs, basically. And guilds had no choice but to join one of the Zergs, or just not participate in certain content. Much better. Maximum for alliance, no more feud guilds. No more feud guilds. Okay. Yeah, that sounds better, because guilds would feud to distinguish other people on the alliance, right? Oh, yeah, that's right. Parkour. Oh, I'm a little dwarf. Checking in on Throne. It's been 50 days since I last logged into this character. And it's probably been a solid 3 or 4 months since I've played it properly. Yeah, I'd say I basically quit this game when PoE 2 came out. But it's recently dropped a new expansion. I'm not sure how long I'll stick around with it, but I guess we're gonna play it and see if I feel the urge to keep playing it or not. Jumping puzzle. Oh god, it's gonna be desyncy. Oh, we managed it. Never mind, we desynced through it. Lovely. Start again. Oh. Got a little boss fight, have we?
The combat doesn't look bad. It like doesn't look bad. It just plays bad.
Solo dungeon. Feels like it. Shut off the red fog. Imagine if I fell off now. GG. What's the gameplay loop at 55? I would imagine it's the exact same as it was at level 50. Maybe with a bit of new content. So you do your daily dungeons, you do your daily open world, basically just spending this currency.
We must stop them.
Doing tier 2 and tier 3 dungeons, grinding mobs in the open world dungeons, spending your mystic keys. I'd imagine it's not too different. But there's more progression systems now and more stuff that you need to grind for. Yeah, it does feel good that I can move and attack at the same time now. Before, you would become really slow when moving left and right and attacking. Oh, we failed there. Charge me, bro. Idiot. GG. Getting a lot of trait unlock stones. I've got so many of these precious crystals. I've got over 1,000 of them. I bet I can use this to get my gear pretty high when I've got tier 2 gear. Oh, this is Clay. Wasn't he dead? I'm sure this is something really interesting in the story if I was paying attention to it. I guess Clay isn't dead. He's been corrupted or something. I love it when the mobs give me something to block. It always feels so good. Give me more circles, game. Give me more perfect dodges. Perfect blocks. Sit.
I don't think this is better than New World. I don't. I would rather go play New World in this game, and that's my problem. I don't know. They're both from the same company, even. They're from the same company, when I compare the two. I'm like, I'd rather do New World. I think New World is a better game. The combat's better, just much better than that. I don't understand how the New World's combat is better, but it is. It's like way better. It's like better than that. I don't know. I don't care about this cutscene, just go.
Let's see if there's any decent outfits. The last time I played this game, there was dog outfit. Payback.
Nope.
I don't know what this is.
Like, a lot of it is filler. It's like cutscenes.
NPC, the boss charges you need to block. Take the NPC.
I don't like this combat. It's not really...
Makes sense. Okay, let's try it.
It doesn't feel like it has weight at all.
Yes, I am correct. I do like that the boss has like certain mechanics that you need to jump. I love the block and the jumping and stuff. I do find the PvE content fun. I got you, brother. Sit down. Oh, is that not the final boss? We knock him off the edge. Get knocked. Sit down. I'm actually taking some decent damage.
Look at all those items. Why? He's been playing for an hour. What is the fucking point of all of that? What could it possibly mean? Do items matter in this fucking game beyond potions? See, it's not, like, I don't know. I can see the signs of what looks like a really strong foundation, but there's no meat in the goddamn pot. It's all bone. When you actually, like, finally reach in and you, like, put the spoon in the goddamn pot, you go to taste it. You're like, it's bone water. There's no meat in this fucking stew.
Buff. Oh. Rude.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Don't stand around on a crumbling bridge looking for a food buff, Craig, you fucking donkey. Good job. A little bit more urgency next time. Alright, this has got to be the final boss, surely.
You're finally here. I infused Remy with Lazarus's guardian. And look at what a hideous monster he's become.
He's not that bad.
Father and son reunited.
He's just big. Right. Final MSQ boss fight, let's go.
Why are we watching this? Let's go.
Bro's floating. Come down. Oh, the square is actually where you need to dodge, right? I've never actually fought a boss where you need to, like, dodge before with the square. This is gonna be new for me. I'm gonna block every single attack now. There it is. So I think you need to take this, if not maybe you just take too much damage. I'm guessing that's the mechanic. That's it. Easiest boss in my life. Must have died 50 times here. Okay, I think we'll finish with the MSQ now. And soon I can finally play the game. Okay, I think I finished the MSQ now, haven't I? Is that it? Oh, let's go here, speak to Clay.
After giving Lazarus's guardian pledge to Clay, you received
GG, that's level 55, and I think we've finished the MSQ now.
Clay cryptic.
So this is the main hangout area, is it? Let's inspect some of these players. See how they're looking. She's looking like a robot. Still rocking the Christmas attire. Is that a morph? That's a cool morph.
Wow.
I think that person's had a feeling that I was looking at their character. I just got hundreds of thousands of XP. Okay. 4K is good. Mid. Come to me, dwarves. Oh, what does that do? Oh. That could be useful. It's quite fun. Yeah, Zone of Pain's the play. Big AoEs, huge damage. GG, right? We did it. Oh, that was just one stage? Oh, so you do that and then I guess this is the boss. Go on then.
Vampirism. Oh my god, vampirism is what they call the fucking, like, life drain. Life drain is, I think, an easier way to say it. Life drain, vampirism. It's like a 4-syllable word.
Let's try it.
I mean, it is Korean, so it just translates.
Okay, what's this? There's some... Where's this? There's a mechanic and I don't get it. fuck is this mechanic?
Oh, I see.
I don't... Fuck knows. No idea what that means. That's that's a job for Google.
What?
At the pillar now, what? Oh, I see. Boom. I think I get the mechanics now. Fuck, this is gonna be a long boss fight. Just don't have any DPS.
See, this game sucks. It's the same boring bullshit that they did in New World at the Soul Trials. I hate Soul Trials. And this game probably is stuffed with them. So probably half the game is this stupid shit.
I almost don't want to do this boss because it's just taking so long.
See, and you can hear his response to it. That's how I feel too. Fuck this stupid boss. It's a solo boss. Why is it taking 7 minutes?
Content's really fun.
Really? I don't know. I don't think it looks that fun.
Alright, GG. These dungeons aren't that bad though. As far as solo dungeons go, I'm glad this isn't just kill one boss and there's nothing else to it. Kill one boss and it's done. It actually feels like a proper solo PvE experience. Oh my god, what's going on here? Fuck knows, I was YOLO across. There it is. Almost died. That's pretty cool. Let's see what these mechanics are. I guess this is the last boss, and then I've finished my first ever tier 1 dungeon. So that's a block. Then we're gonna have a dodge roll. Feels like you need to be moving for a few...
Didn't you just do another crappy boss? I can see doing this boss like once at the end of the chapter. I don't foresee doing it 10 minutes again later. This game has lost me and I'm done with it now. I'm sorry, I'm not going to play that game. I don't mean to be negative, I'm just giving my impression. Go back to the drawing board. How's this going? Am I good? Yeah, we're good. Let's be getting harassed or anything like that. Ooh, Patrick CC did a new Family Guy episode. Rose Resyndicated. I don't want to watch that. Get
Normally,
it. No.
Grab lip.
Oh my god, gone. I need to curate this thing now. Marathon, ugh. They've been trying to sell me a marathon all of my life. They've never managed it. I don't know. Like, I don't really want to see this. Can I make World of Warcraft suggestions go away? You seem to think that I want to see a bunch of WoW videos. 76, Valheim. Suikoden. I want to look at MMORPG and just see what pops. New Albion Online style, new MMOs. My favorite MMO is finally released and it's crazy good. It's Lotro. No, it's WoW. Finally released. I hate these top 10, top 15, top 20, top 15, top 15, top 15. Like, how is that even still successful? I'm actively avoiding them. Star Wars: The Old Republic. Are you fucking serious? Throne and Liberty. Honorable mention. What? Oh, EVE Online. Yeah, nice. '18 best. Top 18. Blah blah blah. Crosswind. Yeah, she's really beautiful. Ooh, the content has dried up. You can see it. There's like nothing good here. Now it's showing me a whole bunch of fucking hodgepodge of videos, but can we get something like recent, like from like this week, I guess? Or unwatched, yeah, unwatched. Videos. Let's do a filter of this month. Filter by view count. Wow, he did really well. I can't believe. Room Fighter Online. Oh my god. Some of these have so many hits. Meridian 59. Oh my god. It's weird. Like what? See, you're not sorting totally anymore, and now we're getting like lower. Ooh, the industry is sort of dying. I better just go back to the drawing fucking board, I guess. Ooh. I wonder if those guys are still jackassing around those fucking bandits or whatever. Because I like to cross over to the river and just sit there. Or I'm sorry, the ocean. Get off the road. Reed Mace. Oh, that's good to know. So there's Reed Mace here. Rob while making millions. Fleetwood's Max rumors. Scandal exposed. Wow. From 8 hours ago. It'll probably play DMCA music though. I love that song. Oh, I am off my main, which I suppose... That's good I didn't go in the water because I would have just drowned again. I want to get to where I would be if the horse was here. Gotta go pee. Be right back. You know, I don't like the way the trees look, and I'm going to re-log. Yeah, log out. Or not log, but, I don't know. Maybe I should just leave it. No, I will log. Give it 2 minutes to do something else.
On the evening of March 23rd, 2025, a quiet queue descended over the square in front of Istanbul's City Hall, and a woman in a brown overcoat began to speak. "We are a big family, and today has been very hard for all of us. she began. But we will win by resisting step by step. They think they can get rid of Ekrem Imamoglu by arresting him. Ekrem Imamoglu has defeated you before. He will defeat you 5 more times if needed. Whether he is a candidate or not, he will win, because he has become the symbol for a nation's fight for dignity. End quote. With each statement, the tens of thousands of people in front of her erupted in rapturous applause and chants of President Ekrem. Many carried Turkish flags, some of them featuring images of the state founder Mustafa Kemal Ataturk. All were there for one singular purpose. The one on stage was Dilek Kaya Imamoglu, wife of Ekrem Imamoglu, the detained mayor of Istanbul. 4 days previously, he was arrested by state authorities and soon sent, awaiting trial, to Marmara Prison, a high-security facility known to house journalists, activists, and political figures who'd fallen foul of Turkish President Erdogan's
The
regime.
trees are like all
The arrest
fucked
led
up.
to an explosion of outrage, and massive protests have raged in Istanbul and multiple other cities in Turkey ever since. Here's what you need to know about that. March the 19th
That crashed.
was the day Imamoglu, who'd served as mayor since 2019, representing the opposition Republican People's Party, was arrested. Imamoglu's detention was on the charge of alleged corruption, extortion, bribery, money laundering, and supporting terrorism, in particular the Kurdistan Workers' Party, or PKK. Imamoglu had been in the government's sights for many years. His party, known shorthand as the CHP, is the long-term, bitter rival of Erdogan's Justice and Development Party, or AKP. The CHP candidate, Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu, narrowly missed out on defeating Erdogan in the country's presidential election in 2023. Erdogan has served as president since 2014, when he won the first direct election in Turkey's history. Previously, presidential elections have been held every 7 years instead of the current 5, using a system of indirect voting. In other words, where the candidate of the most popular party would assume the office. The final indirect vote in 2007 was also the first victory of the AKP, and its candidate, Abdullah Gül, became president. The party had been established 6 years earlier by Gül, conservative lawmaker Bülent Arınç, and Erdogan himself, who was by 2007 serving in the role of prime minister. The following years saw huge turbulence in Turkey, characterized by increasing authoritarianism, the beginning of expansion of military operations against Kurdish factions in Syria and Iraq, a massive influx of Syrians fleeing their country's civil war, and a flailing economy. With it also came pronounced division in Turkish society, as well as an evolving three-way tussle between the largely conservative voting central regions of Turkey, the CHP voting west and major cities, and the Kurdish-dominated southeast. Amidst all this, Erdogan overcame an attempted coup d'etat in 2016, allegedly orchestrated by adherents of the Islamist Gulen movement, referred to in Turkey as his bet. The coup saw an attack by members of the military on the AKP headquarters in Ankara, and a brief conflict which led to the deaths of around 300 people. Erdogan responded with a vicious crackdown, purging both the military and civil society. Many of the arrested ended up in Marmara, the same facility where Imamoglu is currently being held. As the years progressed, Turkish society only became even more fractured. The 2015 election had seen 4 parties sit in Turkey's unicameral Grand National Assembly: the AKP, the CHP, the Ultra-Nationalist National Movement, or MHP, and the Kurdish People's Democratic Party. But by the end of 2022, there were no less than 16. Various defections and resignations led to the rise of the conservative Kemalist Ili or Good Party, and others like the Communist Workers' Party re-entered parliament. The May 2023 parliamentary election continued this path of electoral chaos as yet more groups appeared. These included the conservative New Path Alliance, several Turkish or Kurdish Islamist parties, other left or right-wing groups, as well as 9 independents and 7 empty seats. Although Erdogan's AKP suffered consecutive seat losses in 2018 and 2023, it continues to govern chiefly through an electoral alliance known as Cumhur, which it entered into in 2008 with the National Movement. This has allowed the AKP to maintain power through the following 2 elections, despite not reaching parliamentary majority by itself and ruling instead as a minority government. But by the 2023 presidential election, in which Erdogan sought a 3rd successive term, the divisions had reached boiling point. Erdogan was successfully re-elected, but only narrowly so. In 2018, the closest runner-up had received only 30% of the vote against Erdogan's 52%. But on this occasion, the president failed to secure a majority in the first round of voting, leading to a second-round runoff between the top 2 candidates. Erdogan finally triumphed with 52% of the vote, and narrowly edged out the CHP's Kılıçdaroğlu with a fraction under 48%. Despite this success, the following year was not kind to Erdogan. In the 2024 local elections, the AKP lost 15 municipalities, and its ally, the MHP, lost a further 3. The Kurds gained 2, while the CHP, in what was by far the largest gain, held most of its cities and won an additional 14, surpassing the AKP by more than 1 million more in what was the party's best electoral performance since 1977. The CHP is now the governing party in 6 of Turkey's 7 largest and most economically vibrant cities and controls 35 of its 81 provinces. All of this no doubt angers Erdogan, who, while mayor of Istanbul in the 1990s, was ominously quoted as saying, "Democracy is like a tram. You ride it until you arrive at your destination, then you step off." Just before we continue, quick plug for our fantastic newsletter. Look, imagine never missing the critical details behind today's global events, those decisive moments and hidden narratives that shape our world. And that's exactly what you'll get with the Warfront's newsletter. Every week, you'll receive expertly curated insights into global conflicts, powerful military strategies, and analysis delivered directly to your inbox. No fluff, no noise, just crystal clear clarity wrapped in compelling stories and fascinating historical connections that you just won't find anywhere else. It's completely free, it's genuinely valuable, and signing up just takes a few seconds. There's a link below. Understanding the world just got a whole lot easier thanks to our newsletter. And now back to it. Alright, so let's get some backgrounds here. Who exactly are the CHP and what do they stand for? The Republican People's Party was officially founded the same year as the modern state of Turkey itself in 1923 and more than 8 decades before the AKP. But the party was unofficially established 4 years before that by Mustafa Kemal, commonly known by his honorific surname Ataturk, or Father of the Turks. His worldview, Kemalism, is a blend of Westernism, secularism, Turkish nationalism, economic statism, and, since the late 20th century, social democracy. The latter has put it especially well.
Hey. Yeah, what's up? Oh, there we go. Did we unlock? Unpause? I gotta go grocery shopping here in about an hour and a half, so I will end the stream there. Then, sorry, my voice is kind of shot. So
playing, and let me tell you, the KR servers are
Like Erdogan himself, Imamoglu isn't actually from Istanbul. He was
exactly that. They are active. BDO has always had a lot of haters attacking it for its progression paths separate to your combat gear and ability. All in all, Black Desert Online being in the top 10 in Korea, I really don't think surprises too many people.
I guess it was.
Number 8, Lineage 2. When it comes to the household names in the MMO genre, everyone has heard of the Lineage franchise. If this game had to be summarized in one word, that word would be epic. Lineage 2 for the longest time has been a stable top 10 game in Korea and has survived the test of time in both the eastern and even in the western regions. In the west, it's become a smaller niche game, but it still does have a decent population for an older game. Lineage 2 is a game that stayed true to the massively multiplayer part, large-scale raids, taking down world bosses, epic PvP, GVG siege wars. This game not only was a staple in the genre, but also a major influencer to modern-day MMOs. It's no surprise that if any classic MMO were to still be popular, it would be Lineage 2. Despite all of this in Korea. Number 7, Odin Valhalla Rising. Speaking of epic games, while Lineage 2 offers the epic gameplay experiences, Odin will make you feel like you are in an epic world. The only mobile game that makes the list on the top 10, Odin Valhalla Rising certainly does not look like a
See, we've never heard of these games, right?
Game. In fact, graphically, it looks better than most PC MMOs we have today. Odin Valhalla is an open-world Norse mythology-based MMO that has amazing visuals thanks to its Unreal 4 engine. Developed by Lionheart Studio and published by Kakao, the game launched in Korea in 2021, and let's just say it was a massive one, garnering millions of players, earning over $100 million within its first month. Yes, the launch had millions in Korea, in one single country. I can personally attest to this because I was one of the many playing on launch day. Odin is a mobile-first game that is playable via PC, but the game's interface, UI, and controls are clearly designed for the mobile devices, especially the combat system. If this game were to really take off in the West for PC users, they would need to change the combat system so it wasn't an auto-lock, auto-attack experience. Trust me, it's not great. Outside of this and a few other obvious mobile game features, this game screams AAA polish, offering both PvE and PvP content.
Polish, but not gameplay.
Number 6, Lineage. As some
I can't believe you're in the first
World
one.
of Warcraft.
Oh my god.
When you think of 2D side-scrolling MMOs, Dungeon Fighter is definitely one of the first you think of. Number 3,
Aeon.
I think we can all agree that this game was one of, if not the, a steady top 5.
This is a Westerner who has no clue about fucking like South Korean MMOs either. This guy didn't know about any of the MMOs. He knew about one. He knew about one of them, but no, this is not the top 10 in South Korea. It's just some list he made up. Not because every content creator can do that, but you give every single title special flavor. Ragnarok.
Istanbul. He was born in 1970 in the Black Sea city of Trabzon and moved to the city to attend university at the age of 17. His political career began in 2008 when he joined the CHP after several years working in his family's construction business. His first success was to be elected mayor of the Istanbul district of Beylikdüzü the same year Erdogan clinched the presidency in 2014. But it wasn't until 2019 that Imamoglu shot to fame by becoming mayor of Istanbul proper as an underdog in what was one of the most dramatic political upsets in Turkey's recent history. Despite polls predicting otherwise, he won a wafer-thin victory in the election in March, taking 48.77% of the vote against the AKP's candidate and former Prime Minister Binali Yildirim with 48.61%. The result came as a shock and setback to Erdogan, who'd been re-elected president the previous year and had secured a slim parliamentary majority through his alliance with the MHP. But Erdogan was not willing to give up the city easily. He had previously claimed that if his party, quote, lost Istanbul, we would lose Turkey. The close nature of the result was enough to allow the AKP to successfully push for a by-election, and Imamoglu's win was controversially annulled. But rather than boycotting the repeat election, Imamoglu wisely doubled down on the fervour it generated and the increasing displeasure with both the AKP's ham-fisted tactics and the declining economy. In the rerun held in June, he won by a wider margin, taking 54% of the vote to yield Diran's 45% and a total of 28 of Istanbul's 39 districts. Imamoglu's campaign to win over the Istanbulites was based on pragmatism, and he regularly attended neighbourhood meetings and iftar dinners to discuss local issues with the public. This contrasted him with the AKP's Yildirim, an obvious second fiddle to Erdogan, who was rarely central to his party's rallies in a way that would have probably helped his campaign. Still, Yildirim did at least enjoy the blanket support of pro-government media, another feature of the AKP's reach. But Imamoglu managed to draw votes from both the city's Kurdish minority, unhappy with the arrests of several of their politicians, as well as working-class AKP voters suffering from rising unemployment and an inflation rate now above 20%. The result.
Well guys, thank you for joining me today for a very special promo for the guys over at Life is Feudal. And this is the brand new alliteration of the game, Arden, which is a free-to-play sandbox MMO set in the Middle Ages, where you can engage in thrilling PvP content or PvE exploration, master a variety of professions and craft unique items in the game that comfy from my experience. Okay, so along the bottom you have a bunch of numbers which correlate to different tasks. From what I can tell, 8 returns you home, but if you're holding any items you will drop them, but anything in your inventory you will take with you. So the Traveller's Idol allows you to transfer your character around. So if you go to interact to a inventoryman thing, it doesn't matter what you eat, it doesn't matter what you drink, just as long as you do eat and drink something, you can stay alive for a long time in this game. It's in no way punish it. If you starve to death, then you need to sort your life out, because you shouldn't starve to death. All you have to do is right click the floor. See, now we've created those items, we can now look for more things. You definitely give this game a chance. Even if it keeps you entertained for a couple of days, it's worth a look. And if you do really like it, you know, I'll be buying some of those gold coins and getting myself some of these buildings built. I want to claim some land. Do you know what I mean? I want to be somebody. And I feel like the game kind of got a bum rap because it was a pay to play. It just didn't have enough content. But for a free to play, it has more than enough content. And this is where the sickle comes into play. You cannot gather herbs and whatnot without a sickle. So this is the thing, and no game is perfect.
Boy, the graphics are fucking terrible.
And it does have some caveats, but they're easily overlooked once you get into the gameplay and understand how it works. So I just wanted to get a few of you guys that may have given the game a chance and haven't gone back to it since. Maybe you played it and you just haven't revisited it lately, you know? It does look... Or something needs to happen with these animals where they lay down for 5 seconds so we can actually catch them up and do some damage. So yeah, the sickle's doing way more damage. Go for a headshot. This thing's attacking back.
He's gonna kill you.
Okay, that thing went ham on me right now. I'm gonna move this over here so you can see it. If I now go into my inventory, you can see now I have rock. So you have playing survival games regularly. They're time burners, but you get a sense of achievement and progression that you don't get from other genres, you know. You might get your badges and your trinkets, but it doesn't feel the same as, you know, living in a living, breathing world and building up a town and a city and gathering items and making new friends. It just doesn't really build up, and I could spend a lot of time in this game. I can see myself wanting already to build a house and a base, and with the pacing of this game, it's going to take around 10 to 20 hours to just scrape the surface. I know it is, and this is where my recommendation to you guys is to give it a go. It's free to play. Try it for a couple of hours, see how you find it. Get used to the controls. Don't just drop it. Stick with it. Go away, have a cup of tea, come back, try again. Get the feel for the game, and once you get that, like myself, it'll probably just click. Once it clicks, it's a good game, but you have to just give it that little, it's a slow burn. It's a slow burn, and you really have to give it a go. Right, so now we can create furniture, and we can also build a stone road and simple constructions. So now we're opening up a massive menu of stuff, so we can actually build fences and tables and storage boxes, or now I'm getting excited. So if I want to build like a whole farm, And this, again, it's going to keep you playing. You know, we're talking about logs, billets. I mean,
Ooh, I got the
bag,
Gnosis.
I haven't even
Nice.
seen that yet. Copper ingots we're yet to find, and boards. But yeah, I mean, it's there, right? So with a friend, you can go ahead and you can try and work this out together, play together, and try and like grind.
I won this
If you don't
Gnosis
have a
for
friend,
one.
Just log into Twitch,
One.
go live stream, and see if someone can help you out there, or jump into somebody else's live stream like myself and ask. But you can see here, I'm not starving. I haven't died in 2 hours.
Three in a row. I just made some
Don't
serious
spend
money.
2.5 hours. I'm finding it interesting.
I just made 120
It has
million
everything you
for
need from a survival
21.
game, and it has that sense of achievement. But you, again, just give it a chance, and you'll find that it's definitely worth your effort. And we can make a wristband, which is the first time I'm making any sort of gubbins that can go on our personal body. It's not bad. 20 bits of cloth.
Gubbins is a good word. MacGuffin is
I was
not.
waffling through the whole thing. I make myself set booties now. Again, once you get it, you can't forget it. You're going to keep coming back because you don't want to lose what you've learned. There we go. So now we have the booties. So if I just go equipped.
Scum is better than this.
I love playing Scum, but it is on a sort of whenever I feel because it's now in my list for, you know, games that I enjoy playing. I have a list of games I enjoy. I have a list of games that I'm paid to play, and I have a list of games that are given to me as like promos. You know, I love playing Scum, but it's on a sort of whenever I feel like playing sort of deal. I want this to be the same. I want to build a series of Life is Feudal, but I can only do it if you guys hit that like and leave me a comment down below. You know, tell me if I helped you in any way. Tell me something I may be doing wrong. If there's anything I need to know early game, you can hit me up with some info. Drop a big paragraph. I love reading big tutorials from people who have played the game for like 500, 900 hours. You know, let me know why I'm crossed and why I should be doing better. And I'll try and do my best to bring you a follow-up part. I like to do 3-parters on new survival games. I like to do the first impressions, the mid-roll, and then the end game. And I think that's the bare minimum any MMO player should do as a content creator and as a YouTuber, is to go back like 100 hours in, 200 hours in, and, you know, see if we're still feeling the same. See if it's still got that buzz to it. I just like it. It doesn't do too much. But what it does very well. Do you know what would be cool in the look for menu is if I went to materials, it actually had another branch that comes out and says, what are you looking for? Like if I'm looking for stones, or if I'm looking for flint, if I could then go onto another sub menu and say, just spawn flint, just spawn what we need, that would be really good. Because when I hit materials, he's going to look for like the baseline materials. You might get like 3 stones, a couple plants.
I'm done with this.
Whoa, you must have been asleep in the sun for quite a while there. Alliance? A rogue? No runes either? I guess the sun really did get to you. Wake up, Naxxramas is out and the Scarlet Crusade is coming. We got stuff to do, Anti-Jacks. It has been a minute since I last played Season of Discovery, and our journey once again begins exactly where we left off, on the coaster STV, enjoying in the sun. Now, what is the first thing I experienced back on Season of Discovery as a horde? Well, attacking low levels, of course, and testing out my lava burst, before I am quite literally one-shot, yes, one-shot, by a hunter, who also then starts one-shotting every single max level on the boat. Either they are insanely overpowered, or I am now very bad geared. When you swap zones, you respawn, so once again, I'm straight back in this hunter's scope. I try running for my life on the boat, but I'm popping all my cooldowns, or what I can remember I'm supposed to use, and I do land a single flame shock before being obliterated. Maybe I should be a hunter.
There it is. That's the twink. Remember I talked about twink? You think it's like oh, I got a chance? No, and this is how most modern combat plays. It's like getting stomped by a twink in World of Warcraft in a single hit and you're dead. It's like one-shots. One-shots. They're fucking bullshit. I've dealt with it so long, I'm sick of it.
As I then arrive in Orgrimmar, I'm shocked by how alive the world still is.
Wait,
and
Season is that busy still? Jesus.
Oh, there's people on both.
I thought this would be dead as a fucking doornail.
Mounts. Well, scarabs, different colours, people have fully sanctified tier 3 gear, and I don't even know what sanctified means. Oh boy, I've missed quite a bit. I am very overwhelmed right now, and even though I've been playing Classic, there's just so much going on in Season of Discovery journey, I kind of don't know where to start. As I then run around Orgrimmar seeing all this new gear, especially the tier 3 warriors, it's always been a dream of mine to have an orc warrior decked out in this gear. So there's only one thing I'm thinking of. As I take one look at Anti-Jax's Shaman before hitting that log out button, it's time for a new journey, a fresh journey, a challenge that is going from 0 to hero, that you guys also voted for. That's right, a new adventure awaits us. I eventually do die. My first death at level 9, and I forgot how much of a run it is back. Play with his friends around the world, all thanks to Exitlag. Once again, I'd like to thank them for sponsoring this video. Check out the link in the description or the pinned comment below. I'll be truthful, I was really struggling for bag space, and I was having to do things like delete items just to have space. It was really annoying. On the plus side, I was
go to
also
the
mining
vendor.
a hell of a lot.
It's down
and
the
I did
road.
think of using my 60 shaman to
Are you bad? You're bad. You're young and you're bad. I'm sorry. He's like, my inventory's full. You know, there's a vendor like in sight. There's like a vendor in sight of you. I'm just gonna leave. Man, no. Ooh, no, you didn't. I don't think I want this guy anymore. Don't recommend the channel. Feeling terrible mod applications. Ooh, yeah, balls. Yeah. Match 600,000 protest MAGA. Ooh, 600k strong. Watch 600,000 protest MAGA. Wow. Sunpecker decimated Trump. Nice. It's the Trump Zuckerberg situation is crazy. So we have a new Philip DeFranco on Monday. We'll watch that, I guess.
Real reason that tech billionaires like Mark Zuckerberg are going all in on MAGA, flip-flopping on issues like hate speech and content moderation, and what that could mean for the future of free speech online. And then how the gambling industry is leveraging the AI boom to hypercharge its exploitations of customers, fuel addictions, and drive new laws as it sinks its teeth even deeper into the American economy. We're making the deep dive today on your brand new Philip DeFranco show, your daily dive into the news, how it's being covered, and how people are reacting to it. Right in that, because a little announcement is this week is going to be a little bit different. I promised my wife we could go on a vacation and I would not spend half of it in a hotel room shooting the show. So this week, across your 4 Philip DeFranco shows, I shot 11 deep dives into really, really important news you should know about. We're deep diving into some of the most interesting, concerning, and or downright scary stories that I've seen over the last few weeks and months that matter in the now and in the future. But that said, let's jump into Deep Dive Week and today's show, starting with this. I want to do a little bit of a deep dive with you today, because these days there's one main billionaire in Trump's orbit that we talk about a lot. But right now, I want to talk about one who's now circling the president closer than ever, though he doesn't have as big of a spotlight on. Because it seems like after years of flip-flopping or playing both sides on issues like free speech, content moderation, and diversity, Mark Zuckerberg and Meta along with him, they're going all in on MAGA. And to fully appreciate and understand the situation, we got to go back to 2016 when Donald Trump won the presidency for the first time. And as you might remember, there were a lot of people trying to explain what happened, with one of them being Facebook. The critics at the time not only painting the platform as an online echo chamber, but also blaming it for the near unchecked spread of fake news, disinformation, and conspiracy theories that they say propelled Trump to victory. And as far as Mark Zuckerberg, of course, Facebook's founder and CEO, he defended the company at first, right, denying that the platform had any impact on the election. And in fact, he called the claim that fake news on Facebook influenced the election crazy. Then, just a few days later, he was writing an apologetic post announcing a series of steps.
Does anybody still use Facebook?
Bottom line is, we take misinformation
besides
seriously.
Messenger?
With that, he previewed Facebook's fact-checking program, which
I'm
would
at 600
actually be
hours
launched a month
immortal.
later. But of course, despite that, the criticism kept coming, with the same outlets continually reporting on the shortcomings of the company's fact-checking efforts. And by 2018, for example, the company was increasingly being blamed for contributing to the ethnic cleansing and genocide in Myanmar, with reporting at the time beginning to show how the country's military had waged a systematic multi-year propaganda campaign on the platform, with then, not long after that, Facebook again apologizing, admitting that the site had been used to incite violence. And that led to Zuckerberg expanding moderation teams and better defining rules around acceptable speech, with him him also sometime that year speaking to Stephen Levy, who wrote a book called Facebook, The Inside Story, about how the solution to disinformation and hate speech was more content moderation. With him reportedly telling the author, it is no longer enough to give people tools to say what they want and then just let our community flag them and try to respond.
Why are all the
So
modern
we need to
games
take a more active
isometric? They're
role in
trying to
making sure that
steal
the
from
tools
us.
aren't misused. I think we're doing the right thing. It's just that we should have done it sooner. But then, a year later, facing accusations of censorship by conservative politicians, including Trump, Zuckerberg seemingly began swinging back the other way. With him stirring controversy at the time, right? Facebook refusing to take down a Trump ad, making false claims about Joe Biden. With Zuckerberg then defending the decision in a speech at Georgetown, hailing his side as a bastion of free expression. And this as he seemingly aimed to rewrite the true origin story of the platform with a new founding myth, talking about how when he was in college, the country had gone to war in Iraq. And with that, saying that he felt we were acting without hearing a lot of important perspectives and claiming those early years shaped his belief that giving everyone a voice empowers the powerless and pushes society to be better over time, which appears to be a very interesting revisionist history version of the creation of Facebook, because like if you look into it, he initially made Face Smash, which is a website where you could rate the attractiveness of their female classmates. And he did so by hacking into the so-called Facebooks of the different houses at Harvard, with him even writing in a journal published on the site itself at the time. The Kirkland Facebook is open on my computer desktop, and some of these people have pretty horrendous Facebook pics. I almost want to put some of these faces next to pictures of farm animals and have people vote on which is more attractive. But in any case, so with that history set aside and a newly connected origin story to take its place, Zuckerberg just kept pushing back. With us then seeing things like in 2020, Zuckerberg claiming that Facebook...
This from Zuck. Zuck the pig, or whatever you want to call him. I don't know. He kind of looks like a pig. He's got bigger ears. He's got the pig tint to his skin. He definitely has the pigment of pink. Is he stoned? He looks stoned. Is he a stoner?
Speech was a reason to not act on the inflammatory post regarding the Black Lives Matter protest. Though also, notably around the same time...
We know he loves to smoke meats.
Activists and human rights groups who use Facebook to document human rights abuses in the Middle East, accusing the company of deleting their accounts. All while, in the United States, Zuckerberg defended Facebook's policies and resisted pressure to act more forcefully against hate speech. Though a big thing, I will say, is that the company still had a hate speech policy at the time, and Zuck claimed that they were proactively removing roughly 90%.
I just like how you call him
something
Zuck.
Changed again. Biden won the election, Trump lost, and hundreds of his supporters invaded the Capitol. And again, Facebook got some of the blame, and we saw them ban Trump indefinitely for the role that he played in inciting the insurrection. With Zuck then, soon after, telling investors that the company was considering steps to straight up reduce political content across Facebook, which was done shortly after. But of course, that didn't stop fact checkers, researchers, and the media from finding ways that the platform was still being used to spread misinformation and increase political polarization. And come 2024, you had Zuck getting brutalized before the U.S. Senate, then reinventing his image. And last August, he wrote that letter to Congress accusing the Biden administration of pressuring what had by then become Meta into censoring more COVID-19 content than he said he felt comfortable with, as well as then announcing that he wouldn't repeat the contributions he made in 2020 to support nonpartisan electoral infrastructure because the gifts made him appear not neutral. Though notably, that spending was also part of the reason that Trump accused Zuckerberg of plotting against him during the 2020 election, something that also reportedly involved threats to throw him in jail for the rest of his life. But then, despite all that, within weeks of Trump's re-election, Zuckerberg was dining with the then president-elect at Mar-a-Lago. And it was also at this time, according to reporting by the New York Times, that Trump advisor Stephen Miller told Zuckerberg that he had an opportunity to help reform America, but it would be on Trump's terms. With Zuck there reportedly signaling to Miller and his colleagues, including other senior Trump advisors, that he would do nothing to obstruct their agenda. And in fact, according to the Times, Zuck reportedly began preparing to make sweeping changes to Meta to, in the words of the Times, remake Meta for the Trump era. And notably, with that, the Times interviewed more than a dozen current and former Meta employees, as well as executives and advisors to Zuckerberg. And they reportedly described his shift as serving a dual purpose. Right, on one hand, it's about positioning Meta for the current political climate, with Trump and Republican power ascendant. But also, too, and maybe even more notably, people close to him reportedly say that the shift reflects Zuckerberg's personal views of how his company should be run, or views that he no longer wanted to keep quiet. You know, with all that, according to the Times, this whole process, it was highly unusual. Because in the past, Meta would modify policies affecting its apps by inviting employees, civic leaders, and others to weigh in. And so with that, the process would generally take months, but this time it was a, quote, 6-week sprint, blindsiding even employees on its policy and integrity team. With then, on January 2nd, Meta appointing Republican Joel Kaplan to lead its global policy team to implement the changes. And then, a few days later, he added 3 new men to the board, with one, of course, being Trump's friend Dana White. And on January 7th, most of Meta's 72,000 employees reportedly learned about the rest of Zuckerberg's plans along with the rest of the world. Zuck, of course, famously
Nice.
announcing that
I got so many
in
notices.
favor of a community note system similar to X's, or with him also revealing
Nice, red packages sold.
Suppressed, and finally, declaring that the company would be loosening restrictions.
I won
on how
too,
people can talk about
and I
controversial
robbed
social
him.
issues such as
I robbed them
immigration,
all.
gender, and sexuality. And notably here, all of that came not
I
just
robbed
from
them all.
Joel Kaplan, but it was also
Oh no, this
announced
was
by
the
Zuckerberg in
this was
interviews
one of
that
the
had him
cheaper
say,
ones. They
After
like
Trump first
64.
got
They like
elected in
64. Huh?
2016, the legacy
I
of the
robbed
media
them.
wouldn't stop about how misinformation was a threat to democracy. We tried in good faith to address those concerns without.
I love robbing nerds on the hypernet. It's so fun.
Fact checkers have just been too politically biased.
Nice.
And have destroyed more trust
Take it.
than they've created, especially in the U.S. The recent elections also feel like a cultural tipping point towards once again prioritizing.
Oh, nice. 64 seems to be good.
So we're gonna get back to our roots and focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring free expression on our platforms.
Right, and then, in the days after, the full extent of the changes became clear. With the company ending its hate speech policy, now calling it hateful conduct, with this policy now allowing posts saying you hate people of certain races, religions, and sexual orientations. And that including permitting, quote, allegations of mental illness or abnormality when based on gender or sexual orientation. With also an Intercept investigation claiming examples of other newly permissible speech highlighted in Meta training materials, including immigrants are grubby, filthy pieces of shit, and gays are freaks. They're saying Jillian Ward, Director for International Freedom of Expression at the Electronic Frontier Foundation, and notably someone who has criticized Meta for what she described as over-moderation in the past, saying these examples demonstrate that Meta's policy changes are political in nature and not intended to simply allow more freedom of expression. And then beyond that, we've seen things like the company also reportedly removing the transgender and non-binary themes on Messenger. Instagram at one point blocked LGBTQ hashtags and marked them as sexually suggestive content, though Meta said afterwards that it was a mistake. And then, off the platform's facilities managers were reportedly instructed to remove tampons from men's bathrooms at Meta's offices in Silicon Valley, Texas, and New York. And of course, the company also announcing that it would be ending its work on diversity, equity, and inclusion, with reportedly a memo being sent to staff referring to the fact that, quote, the legal and policy landscape surrounding diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts in the United States is changing. And, since then, Zuck's kind of just been handing Trump more wins. Or you have Meta paying $25 million to settle a Trump lawsuit dating back to his ban from Facebook. Zuck's been praising the Trump administration openly, and now he's reportedly hunting for a home in D.C. to be closer to Trump. Though, I will say, notably, right, Trump and his team, not fully.
Oh, they're gonna move in. They should kiss.
Various members of his inner circle are skeptical of Zuck's MAGA makeover, with one senior Trump administration official even reportedly telling the outlet there is a lot more ass-kissing that needs to be done, saying he just needs to prove himself. It's a good start, but he can't just snap his finger and make the past not happen. So, with all that, I'd love to know your thoughts on the situation in general, but also with Zuckerberg and what we've seen with a number of multi-millionaires or billionaires. Do you think this is kind of the evolution, the final? They finally feel free to be this version of themselves, or do you see this more as them being shapeshifters? We're going whichever way the wind blows for better financial or personal gain. What do you think and why? And then I've got more important news
that we're all going to have when we can upload our bot.
Can you list every subscription that you are currently paying for? You can pause if you want to try, but how'd you do, right? For me, I cannot keep track. Or rather, I couldn't keep track until I found today's sponsor, Rocket Money, which uncovered some.
Approaching Stargate. Jumping. Warping to Stargate. Warp drive active.
I like New World's soundtrack, but it sounds like a three-piece band that's very, very good at sounding professional. And I wonder if that didn't cost them very much money at all. It's kind of funny. I wonder sometimes like where they cut corners, and I think that's one of the things. I like the music. I think they're extremely gifted. Their whole thing. They're gifted musicians. I love their music. but it does come across as low rank compared to almost all these other games because like they all use like philharmonic orchestras. Even fucking Mortal has like I think a philharmonic orchestra. These guys ran with like a 3-piece 3 to 5-piece band, I think, and there's sometimes some really good orchestral stuff in this game with like there is a lot of orchestral in this game, but other times it's just a 3-piece band, which is kind of interesting. It's an interesting choice. I like it. It has a feel to it that's simpler. I like the 3-piece band. I think actually it's a good touch, but sometimes their music isn't so good. It comes across as sort of like a mix between like WoW's like dungeon music and like yes, like Elder Scrolls dungeon music and like I don't know, like a little bit more melody. It's weird. Sometimes it really bothers me. Some of the music in this game really bothers me too. Some of it sounds like horror movie tracks. Their soundtrack was all over the place. I wonder how many people they actually conscripted because it sounds like there's like horror movie tracks that sound like they're done like by some Enon Zur like music producer who's using live instruments. There's a philharmonic orchestra in this game a bunch of times, including the opening theme and all this stuff. And then there's like and then there's like the 3-piece band. And then there's the people who recorded the fucking like the music for the actual music like gameplay loop element of like little 60-second songs. And there's like and they must have shopped that out to like 7 different entities. And it's weird because it does create like kind of an inconsistency in the soundtrack where no track in the game some of the tracks in the game kind of sound dumb and pirate and kind of jaunty. And they do stick to that in the music theme quite a lot, which is kind of annoying, frankly. But some of the music is truly really good, but then some of the other music is really bad. It's such an inconsistent soundtrack. Sometimes it's really really good, but then other times you're like, I don't really like this, See, this game does it too a little bit. You keep walking for a little bit afterwards. See, it's the same movement. See, New World has that problem with the movement too. See, she keeps doing that combat animation in a direction, and while it does look realistic, I also don't like it. It's like you lose control of your character, and it's a desync, I think, in a way. It's sort of like a desync. Now, I mean, she moves naturally, but I don't know. Yeah, like when she turns directions, I don't like that. It reminds me of Gears of War. It's clunky. It's tank controls. She swivels and pivots, and it feels really fucking weird. You can like get her to run in different fucking like circles and stuff pretty fucking well with this control scheme. It's better than it's ever been, but it's still clunky when you look at it like this. Like when you want to turn direction, that's like a whole second of like movement animation that it locks you. And that's actually really fucking annoying. Fortnite doesn't do that to you. I got so used to not having it that this bothers me. It like fucking bothers me really bad. Maybe I better sell stuff because I have like a lot of stuff and I'm gonna just sell bulk. I hear. I guess I have a lot of money, huh? 30,000. Clouds of Heaven painting. Let's sell that just because it popped. Yeah, that's probably like a lot of money. That's going up. These people might be rich, but I'm still going to charge 5 grand for this and see if anybody buys it. I don't know. $24.15 for Ironhide. Yeah, sure. Let's sell. 140 gold there. That's not bad. What do you mean insufficient items? All right, whatever. 254. Stone that I guess I should have cycled that. Oh, never mind, I do need to cycle like all of this because it's like money that I'll lose if I don't. I haven't played this game in a while.
Requested. Docking permission requested.
Nice. And then I've got to get back on Mortal, but you like shut me out all the time because this game doesn't play that well in the background. Plays well on GeForce Now, but it doesn't play well on this, and it's kind of annoying. I don't think I'm gonna resub to this account again unless I need it. But it's going to be great for this month that I got for free for $12 because I'm going to use it to double my growth for a little bit there and double the income and double the chopping and the wood and all that. That will help me build 2 houses really quickly. So I'm trying to use the time while I have the sub because it's like I don't have a lot of money. I don't have a lot of money for subs and stuff. I do spend about $500 a year on subs, but I mean, I have a job in the MMO industry. Technically, I mean, I don't make much money doing it, but I mean, I have a job in the industry. I kind of do need those subs. If I'm going to do an MMO lifestyle stream, I should probably pay my monthlies. It's fucking annoying. So that was, yeah, we gotta do cloth. So sort by, have materials. Nothing. Huh? Okay. Sort by XP. And then, nice. Satisfying meals are good, but we don't want to use anything too expensive. Glowing algae is absolutely unacceptable. And so is poultry. Yeah, a little bit cheaper, please. Like, oh, can I sub in, actually? Yeah, sub in. Nice. Do we do anything else? No, you don't have anything else. What if I can buy broccoli? Seems like a really high tier, actually. Or whatever, we'll make one. Like set. Oh, I never did buy food. Which is like what? Like hearty meal or satisfying meal or whatever it is. Yeah, I definitely got to get that. I fucking definitely have forgotten that. Yeah, these mealy wraps, they're not going to work. I need intellect food. Like, I don't think I have attribute food. Maybe I should check the box. Yeah, I don't have a lot. Dex, strength, focus, intelligence, Dex, focus, con, strength, con, focus, intelligence, strength. Oh, here's tier 5 hearty meals. I just put them away. There we go. Okay, cool. There we go. These potions don't really seem like they fucking work. I don't want the honing stones on my bar. I want the intellect food on my bar. I need to buy more of it. What was it? It was like fruit salad. Yeah, fruit salad. Good times, fruit salad. $39.94, which I can afford, but I mean, that's a pretty chunk. You know what I'm saying? That's a pretty chunk just for 72 of them. I could come down to like 30 of them at 1,200, I guess. It's sort of. Let's see if there's anything else in the intellect food that's cheaper. Yeah, so there's no. I want to go back from the fruit salad and go back up. Yeah, fruit salad, $35.90, $129, $39.90, $12.90. There's 100 available. It's tier 4. But I mean, I don't really use it. So I mean, like, yeah, I'll take 100 of them for $13.42 and I'll just burn them. Yeah, who cares? Yeah. We'll just run intellect. Yeah. And then I gotta check my spec. I've got int and focus. But I mean, I don't really need damage from focus. I think con would actually benefit me more. I don't know. You know, the intelligence options, yeah, like there's not like a whole lot of options here. I think it was rapier fire staff is supposed to be pretty good. Wood gauntlets. Yep, 100. Yeah, hey, look, all my mats are looking good. Now we just need to cycle everything down the line. Leather. I gotta get a mortal again, so. Oh, I'm in, I guess. Nope, you quit because I didn't get in, huh? Epic. That's me and you. What do you mean? Nope, no wood leather. I'm getting towards the end here. Got an hour left, and then I'm gonna go shopping. I remember the Ziz cult thing. We were like pretty far into that, but I didn't get the fucking ending of it. I kind of do want to finish it, but not yet. Was that everything? I think that is everything. No, I closed the Philip DeFranco, which I do want to finish. So to take me to the history.
Subscriptions I didn't even remember signing up for. This app, it's like having a financial detective tracking down every single sneaky subscription, bleeding your bank account dry. And if you don't know, Rocket Money, it's a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills so you can grow your savings. And Rocket Money's dashboard, it gives you a clear view of your expenses across all of your accounts. You can even create custom budgets, track spending trends, and get price alerts. And their goals feature, it can help you save for things like paying off credit cards or building savings. Hell, Rocket Money, it'll even try to negotiate lower bills for you. They'll automatically scan your bills to identify savings opportunities, and then you can ask them to negotiate for you. So they're dealing with customer service, not you. And this is Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. So cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Just go to rocketmoney.com/PDS today. That's rocketmoney.com/PDS, rocketmoney.com/PDS. If I were to ask you over the course of a year, how many Americans engage in some form of gambling, what do you think that number would be? Think about it, ponder it, give me that answer. The answer
210 million.
Right, that is according to a survey conducted last
Fuck,
summer.
I was low. I said 210
from
million.
49% the year prior. So I mean, we're talking about tremendous sums of money, like some $150 billion on sports alone last year, according to estimates. With us even seeing 538 founder, author, and famed data nerd Nate Silver.
They're all
estimating in his new
gambling
book
now?
that the total wagers placed by Americans every year passes $1 trillion. Which I mean, if true, would mean that in 2022, Americans bet the equivalent of nearly 4% of their nation's GDP and lost over 10% of that money, which, you know, really shouldn't be that shocking since today we bet on just about everything. Sports, political elections, stock prices, meme coins, online lotteries, casino apps, Luigi Mangioni's play the existence of aliens. Hell, places like Polymarket, they even let people bet on different aspects of the Los Angeles wildfires, like how fast they'd spread and when they'd be contained. But to be clear there, that's technically only supposed to be available to bettors outside of the United States. But clearly, the most prominent driver of the new gambling culture in recent years has been sports. Right? And that because ever since the Supreme Court struck down a federal ban on sports betting in 2018, nearly 40 states and DC have legalized the practice. So notably, the two most populous states in the country, California and Texas, have yet to join them. Right? And so if those two joined, you'd expect the gambling numbers to get even more insane. And I mean, you better believe that industry executives' mouths, they are watering at the idea. Because companies like DraftKings, FanDuel, Caesars, MGM, and Disney through ESPN, they've raked in the profits from this gambling boom. You know, even the big sports leagues who have historically opposed betting now caving in as they're signing partnerships with sportsbooks. And we've seen a whole cottage industry sprout around these markets with one very controversial goal, which is the reason that we're talking about this today. Using the revolution in artificial intelligence to turbocharge the gambling boom. Right? And they're doing this in a number of ways. So we're going to start with the mildly concerning and end with the downright dystopian. Right? So first step, you got things like companies using AI to streamline many of the creative tasks that the gambling industry already does, namely writing persuasive marketing copy. With Narrativa, for instance, a firm that reportedly gets a quarter of its business from gambling clients, churning out everything from automated summaries of sports games to SEO-friendly reviews of online casino games to promotional social media posts. But then you've also got firms like SharpLink that use AI in somewhat more innovative ways, namely to convert regular sports fans into sports bettors. But they're reportedly doing this by gathering data about each individual, analyzing it for patterns, and then personalizing betting offers specifically designed for them. So for example, if you've got a favorite sport, team, or player, you'll get targeted with bets for those things. But then also, once you're already in the betting game, the technology does everything it can to keep you there, making more and bigger bets. Right in there, one of the prominent examples is micro bets. You know, they're not exactly new. You just bet in real time throughout the game on stuff like who gets the next touchdown or makes the next tackle, or whether the next play will be a run or a pass. So, you know, they're especially low value, high frequency, and they get settled within minutes or even seconds. But also, as outlets like Business Insider have pointed out, artificial intelligence gave those kind of bets a shot of adrenaline right in the ass. With the same things recently, like DraftKings acquiring SimpleBet, whose automated processes reportedly raised the maximum number of possible micro bets by an order of magnitude. And so according to the outlet, no longer bottlenecked by the capabilities of human sportsbook odds calculators, every moment of a sports game can be turned into a wager. With them saying, when you bet that Lamar Jackson would throw on 2nd and 10, why not bet again that he'll scramble for the first down on 3rd and 3? But it's also not just sports betting that's getting a taste of AI. Right? You're also seeing traditional casino websites giving each visitor a personalized dynamic homepage with the perfect game, be it bingo, slots, poker, pick your poison. With it then adapting to meet the player's desire at any moment and offering bonuses if they're getting dejected. But then also, it goes beyond the websites, right? If you go to the casino in person, you're now dealing with things like the startup NQ, which reportedly uses machine learning to optimize the placement of slot machines on the casino floor. And in fact, according to Insider, removing the total number of machines can actually increase the casino's win if the machines are arranged in a way that redirects players to games where they'll make larger bets. And this is casinos have figured out how to personalize the experience for each player as well, with some locations reportedly putting RFID chips inside every gambling chip and then tracking each person's behavior, building a digital profile, and automatically directing human workers to intervene accordingly. You know, whether that means a free drink, a bonus spin, or any other perk that keeps them playing longer. And I mean, when it comes to the marriage between gambling and AI, I mean, we're really just getting started. Right? I mean, when you look at what industry insiders are imagining for the future, it starts to get a little Brave New Worldy. With, for example, the consultant Deloitte's Global Lottery and Gambling Center of Excellence publishing a research paper last spring predicting that games could be personalized in real time for each gambler. With them writing that AI could allow the games themselves to generate content based on the explicit or even implicit actions of players, from instantly generating new items and playing levels to in-game characters that have lifelike discussions. And, you know, with all this, you can probably guess what the human cost of all this profiteering is, and that is a virtual pandemic of gambling addiction. With the National Council on Problem Gambling estimating now that about 1% of American adults have a severe gambling problem and 2 to 3% have a mild or moderate problem. Which, I mean, just talking about the United States, we could be talking about 7.5 to 10.5 million people. And I mean, if you go global, the numbers get really shocking. With us seeing a recent report from the Lancet Public Health Commission on gambling, finding nearly 450 million people worldwide have experienced at least one behavioral symptom or negative consequence from gambling. You know, as you'd expect, the habit can take a nasty bite out of a person's finances. With, for example, researchers at UCLA finding that states that have legalized sports betting saw bankruptcies jump 28% and debt collections rise by 8%.
And divorce. Divorce too.
More auto loan
divorce.
And more debt consolidation loans.
He's not saying it, but divorce is the biggest thing.
Puts into betting, it takes $2 out of safer long-term investments like retirement accounts. Or, I mean, in places like Brazil, reportedly the world's 3rd largest sports betting market, people now spend as much as 1/5 of their welfare money on gambling, according to the Associated Press. But, you know, with this, many critics and supporters alike, they agree that none of this is inevitable, and even the application of AI doesn't have to be exploitative. Right? In theory, the same software that profiles individual players so it can feed them more bets could instead be used to identify problem gamblers and wean them off. And so as one company even proposed, you could look for patterns, things like unusually large bets, declined deposits, playing at unexpected times, and then intervene to stop them. But I mean, really, with so many different ways and places to gamble, you'd almost certainly need regulators to get involved and protect consumers from predatory business practices in themselves. With some even throwing around the idea of placing a cap on deposits or imposing a maximum bet limit. And actually with that, back in September, Democrat Senator Richard Blumenthal and Representative Paul Tonko introduced the Safe Bet Act to get the ball rolling. Right? And that bill included limits on advertising, affordability checks, and restrictions on the use of artificial intelligence to create bets and target bettors. We then also saw in December the Senate Judiciary Committee holding its first hearing to address the harms to public health caused by sports betting.
It is virtually impossible to watch a sporting event today without being barraged by ads encouraging you to bet or hearing from a celebrity endorser about the latest parlay you should try.
NCPG estimates that every dollar spent to prevent and treat gambling addiction saves government at least $2 in criminal justice and healthcare related social costs.
With gambling addiction, the risk of suicide is omnipresent. Research shows that 1 in every 2 people suffering will contemplate suicide, and 1 in 5 will attempt.
But also, I would say, keep in mind that was from the last congressional session, and, this one's got different people and different priorities. And so recently, you had Bill Miller, the president of the American Gaming Association, telling the National Council of Legislators from gaming states that he expected an industry-friendly federal government. With him saying we have a Republican president, Republican Senate, and Republican House. And so what does that mean for the gaming industry? It means probably less pressure. You know, if he's right, that could be a striking development for the GOP, which, you know, used to be the party of kind of the moral majority and just say no. But as Manhattan Institute fellow Charles Lehman argued in a New York Times op-ed, they've embraced a new constituency of young men whom some have
who
labeled
love drugs, who love drugs and butt sex and flower power. It's hilarious. They have a whole, they're like, the right wing really wants to swallow up these young men no matter what they do.
Right, with them pointing out the president's relatively liberal
gamblers, gamers, weed smokers, butt sex people, all the things the Republicans can't actually really stand. It's hilarious.
Attitudes towards things like sports betting, marijuana.
Sports betting, butt sex, marijuana, heroin, cocaine, fentanyl. All the things that the Republicans profess to hate. Yeah, but they really need those young men voters who will not give up their vices. Will Trump be the president of vice?
Cryptocurrency with him.
You fucking better be. If you want me to like you, Trump, there's only one thing you could do. Legalize, bitch. Legalize. You want us to actually like you? Do something for the fucking hippies and legalize. Fucking legalize it. Get the Fenties out of the fucking jails and turn the jail cells into fucking motel rooms for the homeless and shit, and make sure they had 3 square meals and some job training and some mental health facilities and stuff, and they'll recover just like me, and they'll come back to being good Americans, and they'll come back to the trough like I did. They have to come do it willingly. And one of the ways you can do that is stop throwing them in jail for butts, you know, for selling butt sex and dope, you know. Ancient Protector. It's a level 700 shield. It's not bad. I somehow got the materials for it. I don't really know how I got those materials, but sure, I'll take a kite shield. I really would like you to keep it, have materials on, because I can't see what I have and what I don't have. Yeah, there's a level 700 Arandel kite shield. Maybe I can improve these. I guess I can improve them. There's a Legion shield wall. I don't know if this stuff matters or what. I was making stuff. Blast shield. That's the one that I used to have. Jagged Flotsam, Dragon Scale, and Ye Olde Icebox. Let's do the Ye Olde Icebox. So can I just make as many of these as I want? You seem glitched. I don't know. They're like replicas? Okay. I'm just gonna like stuff them in this fucking storage so I don't lose them, you know? Oh yeah, the stamps. I forgot all about that. Now I tried to log in again, and your login process is so painful.
Approaching Stargate.
Oh, you need a premium pass for Seasonal World Chapter 1, huh? That one came through. Nice. I don't care about it, but yeah.
Autopilot jumping.
Okay, wild stamps.
Warping to Stargate. Warp drive active.
5x copper die. Okay, back now. Since I did all that, we checked what I needed to check. I would like to go back now to Everfall and fast travel.
Approaching Stargate.
God damn it! I keep loading Mortal, and I keep like logging out. Log in, damn it.
Autopilot jumping. Warping to Stargate. Warp drive active.
483 pounds worth of cooking stuff. I can go back in. This tree is expired.
Approaching Stargate.
Them, including Trump seems willing, even eager, to embrace vice. But also, I would say, to be fair there, Kamala Harris wasn't exactly a moral crusader on those issues either. But she also ran campaign ads on DraftKings, supporting legalizing marijuana, and promised to encourage the growth of crypto markets. And of course, all of this, I mean, it comes at a time when it seems like virtually everything in American life is designed to be as addictive as humanly possible. I mean, you've got social media platforms, streaming services, online marketplaces, video games, pornography, cannabis, painkillers, even the Philip DeFranco show. Why can't you quit me? You know, all of those things and more, they're constantly competing for your money or your attention or both. And then you've got people like Nate Silver, whom I cited earlier, arguing that even putting capital G gambling aside, Americans have drifted toward a more volatile culture of risk-taking in general. You know, whether it's dating apps, venture capital, public health, politics. You know, with all that said, I gotta pass the question off to you. What are your thoughts here? Because I will say, you know, that's a story, then now this is my personal opinion. I personally have conflicting feelings on this. I personally enjoy gambling. I am personally able to keep that in check. But as I've also looked more and more at the situation and the data, I've no longer, you might have noticed this, I no longer feel comfortable having those sorts of ads on this show and promoting it. And even though that was like fantasy sports rather than like straight up sports books, I was like, even if I'm going to engage in those things and gamble myself, I don't want to promote it.
Promoting
You know,
SeatGeek is kind of bad.
My opinion, and of course, I pass the question off to you. What are your thoughts here? And then I've got even more news for you in just a moment. But first, you know, underwear drawers are like the Wild West of wardrobe. No rhyme or reason to them. Anything goes. You've got pairs from 3 birthdays and 2 Christmases ago from 5 different brands with 5 different fits. When you open that drawer, you have no idea what to expect. But there, I will say, when I felt the buttery soft comfort of today's sponsor, MeUndies, my other pairs just got thrown out because MeUndies is all I need. I was hooked. Right? I've tried countless brands over the years, but nothing compares to the comfort of these guys. Plus, there's something for everyone, from black classics to fun, expressive prints and sizes extra small to 4XL that actually fit real bodies. Or you can find your style and have fun mixing it up. Plus, MeUndies, it's not just comfortable underwear. I mean, you gotta check out their joggers, hoodies, onesies, and more. Their signature fabric, it's soft and warm, while more importantly being breathable and stretchy. To put it simply, it's an ideal all-day wear. Plus, they use sustainably sourced materials, working with partners that care for their workers. And if you're somehow still not convinced, they've got a problem-free philosophy. You're not happy with your first pair? It's on them. So hey, just go to meundies.com/PhilipDeFranco or scan the QR code and use code PhilipDeFranco to get 20% off your first order, plus free shipping on orders of $75 or more. That's meundies.com/PhilipDeFranco, code PhilipDeFranco. MeUndies, comfort from the outside in. But then jumping away from that, I want to do a little bit of a deep dive on something with you, because the FBI is exploring whether to charge animal activists who break into factory farms with attempted use of a weapon of mass destruction, which, key thing, is a charge that can carry a life sentence in prison, right? And this is what got revealed in agency records obtained through Freedom of Information Act litigation by an animal rights group and has been seen by The Intercept, with the outlet there reporting that the FBI FBI has been collaborating with the meat industry to gather information on animal rights activism under its directive to counter weapons of mass destruction. And specifically, the Bureau reportedly floated the possibility of charging these activists under a statute that pertains to biological weapons, which is a subtype of WMD that includes things like toxins, viruses, and microorganisms intentionally used to spur disease outbreaks or death. But with that, you have many experts saying the charges are totally bogus. We're saying that it is true that the activists are breaking and entering, which is definitely a crime, but in the cases in question here,
1,000 gold for cactus
like
flesh.
Trespassing to take pictures of the conditions these animals are in, or stealing some of the smaller animals. And you have animal rights lawyers and advocates saying that any effort to charge them under WMD laws is just a pretense to scapegoat activists and justify harsher prosecution. According to Justin Marceau, for example, a law professor who runs a legal clinic for animal activists at the University of Denver, this is an attempt to blame activists for disease outbreaks that are already rampant on these big corporate farms. Outbreaks that happen because of the unsanitary pack conditions these animals live in. And so you have Marceau saying it's a transparent form of scapegoating and blame shifting that avoids talking about the disease risks that come from having animals intensively confined in these high-stress conditions. We know these are just petri dishes of disease and contamination, and adding this kind of escalation in charging or threats of charges is textbook escalation by government actors against successful efforts by social movements that they disagree with or find subversive. And adding here, the very framing of civil disobedience against factory farms is terrorism is a form of government repression. Now, very notably here, it does not appear that any activists have been charged under WMD statutes yet, but just the fact that they are targets of the FBI's WMD directive is absolutely massive. The FBI records, they have real examples of this happening. For example, there was an incident back in 2019 involving Holmes Foods, which is the largest privately owned chicken producer in Texas. And there, Holmes Foods reportedly tipped off the FBI that activists from the group Meet the Victims had broken into a poultry boiler that the company bought chickens from. The records show that Holmes Foods simply asked the FBI's Dallas outpost for guidance on preparing for future incidents. But in response, the office's local WMD coordinator had a phone call with the producer and other FBI agents. And despite the fact that the company's executives told the FBI that, quote, no damage or product loss was immediately identified, Dallas's WMD program, they still recorded the event as part of its intelligence gathering on animal rights environmental extremism, which the FBI classifies as a form of domestic terrorism. And that's not the only example that came out of the FBI's WMD outpost in Dallas. The next year, the Meat Institute, which is the biggest trade association for poultry and livestock industries in America, they reportedly invited an FBI agent for Dallas's WMD program to its 2020 Animal Care and Handling Conference to, quote, provide insight into agro-terrorism and federal law enforcement's approach to protecting the United States meat industry. And there, you have The Intercept saying that the agent presented a slideshow called Agro-Terrorism in the Meat Livestock Industry. With that presentation reportedly detailing what it called the emerging WMD and domestic terrorism threats posed by animal rights activist groups that often break minor criminal laws like trespassing. But the records show that during the presentation, the agent warned, quote, minor criminal actions associated with animal rights activist extremism have a tendency to escalate towards substantial direct actions, to include the unintentional introduction of biological materials, toxic chemicals, or other hazards into a herd and or flock. The agent then also reportedly encouraging meat industry groups to report this type of behavior to its WMD directive or Joint Terrorism Task Forces, with them then going on to provide a glimpse into the various legal strategies the agency has been looking into, including charging activists under 3 different federal criminal statutes concerning WMDs. And after that, the agent reportedly noted that the Meet the Victims activists in Texas, they were charged with misdemeanor criminal trespass, but also emphasizing the potential domestic terrorism and WMD food sector connections. And so with that, you had The Intercept claiming that move suggests that this is the type of activism the Bureau might target with criminal charges. But, like animal rights lawyers and other advocates, some activists themselves also argue that this is just a frivolous attempt to blame them and justify extreme crackdowns. With, for example, one member of Meet the Victims who was arrested on misdemeanor trespassing charges in the Holmes Foods break-in saying that the poultry farm didn't even lock its gate or barn door, so, quote, they're obviously not too concerned about biohazards. With them then even arguing that the most serious biorisk would have remained hidden without the activist intervention, explaining there, nobody is coming in there and cleaning up the dead chicken bodies. If there's disease, disease is just going to spread rampant. But also, with everything we're talking about here, the FBI's efforts went beyond Texas, where the agency also tried to paint animal rights activists as biosecurity and infectious disease threats in another incident in San Francisco back in 2019. And there, you have a memo that shows that the FBI San Francisco field office claimed that the activists with the group Direct Action Everywhere were breaking into poultry facilities and rescuing birds with, quote, little to no regard for basic biosecurity measures. And there, you have the FBI citing a handful of journal articles to determine determined that the activists' actions helped contribute to the spread of a highly contagious bird illness called Newcastle disease. And during the prosecution of one of the group's organizers, Zoe Rosenberg, a California prosecutor tried to frame her as a bioterror threat. So there, you had Rosenberg disputing the biorisk claims, telling The Intercept that direct action everywhere goes above and beyond the biosecurity protocols outlined by federal and state agencies. Or with this, including wearing a biosecurity suit, gloves, hairnet, and shoe covers while working with farm animals. And adding with that, when leaving a facility, quote, all of that protective equipment is sealed and disposed of safely, just in case it is contaminated with any bacteria or virus from within the facility. With all that said, for now, we're gonna have to wait to see what happens, right? If the FBI efforts grow and more people are targeted under the WMD directive, or, if there is a major escalation, we start actually seeing WMD charges. While we wait to see how all that's gonna play out, I gotta ask you, whether you support or you're against these animal rights groups or whatever their actions may be, what do you think about these charges? Let me know what you're thinking and why in those comments down below. Because remember, yes, this is a news show, but I also want it to be a conversation. But that, my friends, is where your deep dives into the news is going to end. And do not worry, you're not going to have to be alone with your thoughts for too long, because I'll be right back here tomorrow. Because remember, I got a brand new show for you every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. Thank you for watching. I love yo faces, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow.
Today, of course, you saw what happened in the markets. The Dow dropped more than 2,000 points today.
2,000 points!
2,200 points. Yesterday and today are the first time ever that the Dow has dropped 1,500 points or more on 2 consecutive days. 1,600 points yesterday, 2,200 points today. The S&P 500 dropped 10% in 2 days. It dropped 6% today alone. Just for context, whether or not you watch the markets, whether or not you have any money in the markets or a retirement account or whatever, just to get a sense of the scale here, I'll give you 2 metrics here to get a sense of the scale. The first one is the circuit breakers. Do you know about this? The markets have circuit breakers that kick in when things go off a cliff. That's a mixed metaphor, but I think you know what I mean. They call them trading curbs. And they're these shutoffs that kick in automatically and basically stop the market. They stop people from trading for 15 minutes when things have gone unbelievably wrong. And where those circuit breakers kick in, like the threshold of how bad it has to be before the circuit breakers kick in, is when the S&P drops 7% from the previous day's close. Today, the S&P
7% is insane.
Had we got to 7,
I don't know the numbers that well, but
it would have turned the lights out on the market to try to save us from ourselves. That's one way to understand the severity of what's happened here. And here's another. Look at this. This is the VIX index, VIX. Unlike the stock market graphs where you can tell things are bad when they go down, with the VIX, it's the volatility index. It goes up when things are terrible. It's like the economic crisis meter. And you can see there are just a few big peaks there over time. The first huge peak, that's 2008. That was the global financial disaster of 2008, the worst financial catastrophe since the Great Depression. That's the first big peak. The next big peak is March 2020. That's the equally huge global disaster, right? When the COVID pandemic overran the world, killed millions of people, and basically shut off economic activity like there had been a power outage. So those are the first 2 big peaks there. But now look, new peak. That's now. That's now. That one not caused by the biggest financial catastrophe since the Great Depression or a global pandemic that's killing millions of people. That one caused simply by Donald Trump being president. Again, with his great ideas. And the scale of what he's doing, the scale of the destruction that he has wrought, is a little bit hard to get your head around. I mean, like, you can see the headline writers scrambling to try to find the right words tonight. I mean, here's the Wall Street Journal front page right now. U.S. stocks plunge deeper, capping worst week since 2020, which again was the pandemic. Trump's tariffs set off 2-day sell-off as recessionary fears mount. More than $6 trillion erased from market. This has been the lead analysis piece on CNBC.com all day. Trump's tariffs are biggest policy mistake in 95 years. This is the lead editorial today at the Financial Times. America's astonishing act of self-harm. But the picture of Trump there actually kind of puts a nice punctuation mark on that. Quote, look what we've done to ourselves. Hi. But this is the lead, quote, if it endures Donald Trump's decision on April 2nd, 2025, to enact sweeping tariffs on U.S. trade partners, will go down as one of the greatest acts of self-harm in American economic history. His actions will wreak untold damage on households, businesses, and financial markets across the world, upending a global economic order that America benefited from and helped to create. Elsewhere in the FT today, they described Trump's actions as, quote, strangely self-sabotaging.
Strangely self-sabotaging is such a weird phrase. It's like they had to think about it. They're like, is that really accurate? But it is. It's like strangely self-sabotaging. Strangely suicidal.
What astrology is to astronomy. What RFK thought is to vaccine science. The Wall Street Journal summarizes tonight, quote, the Dow Jones Industrial Average became the last of the three major financial indices to enter a correction, defined as a decline of 10% or more from a closing peak. After today, the Dow is down 14.9% from its most recent high. The NASDAQ is now a bear market, off 22.7% from its recent high. Anything more than 20% is considered a bear market. The Magnificent Seven stocks, which include NVIDIA, Apple, and Amazon, collectively lost $1.55 trillion in market capitalization this week. That is a record. Apple alone saw $443.5 billion in market value evaporate. I mean, it is hard to get your head around how much damage this one man can cause. I think it's even harder to get your head around simultaneously the fact that he can do damage of this magnitude with such a teeny tiny amount of thought. Right? You think it would take like a grand plan and some big brains to figure out how to destroy the economy of the richest nation on earth. But that's not how it's working out. Turns out it doesn't take a big idea or a lot of big brains working together. I know that this may be something that you remember, but just in case it's not, I'm just going to put this back on the front page here just for a second. Because do you remember where Trump got the tariff thing from in the first place? Do you remember like when and why and how we started talking about tariffs in the first place? It was in his first campaign for president. Trump didn't really have any formal economic advisors. So he told his son-in-law, Jared, to find him an economic advisor. Trump reportedly gave Jared some vague ideas of what his thoughts were on economic issues. You know, something, make me look tough, China bad, something. Jared then decided to find his father-in-law a financial advisor for his presidential campaign by going on the Amazon.com website and starting to browse books. Not like reading the books, because you can't do that on the Amazon website. He was just looking at the covers, looking at the titles. And he found a book title that he thought was so cool. The title was Death by China. Oh my God, that's so cool. That's so awesome. And that apparently was it. Quote from Vanity Fair. Trump gave Jared a summary of his views and then asked him to do some research. Kushner simply went on Amazon, where he was struck by the title of one book, Death by China, co-authored by a man named Peter Navarro. Jared then cold called Navarro, a well-known trade deficit hawk who agreed to join the team as an economic advisor. Navarro was a major advocate for an aggressive pro-tariff policy. Where did Peter Navarro get his idea that tariffs would be a good policy for America? What was his backup for that conviction? Well, he did have backup from a real expert who he cited in at least a half dozen of his books, including the one that Jared found on Amazon that fateful day. In all of his books, Peter Navarro has cited an economics expert to justify his views. And the economics expert he cites is somebody named Ron Vera, V-A-R-A, Ron Vera. When Trump won the presidency and entered the White House, this Ron Vera started circulating a memo around Washington in support of Trump using tariffs in trade policy. According to the New York Times, the memo had been, quote, sent from an email address purportedly belonging to Ron Vera. At one point, Ron Vera wrote in the memo that Trump could, quote, ride the tariffs to victory. The problem is Ron Vera doesn't exist. He never has. The economics expert that Peter Navarro has long cited to explain why he's so gung-ho on tariffs, this person, Ron Vera, is a made-up person. He is a fictional person. Peter Navarro invented Ron Vera as his expert source so he could quote this expert source over and over and over again in his crackpot books. Who is Ron Vera? Ron Vera is an anagram of Navarro, which is his last name. I mean, my name anagrams to Macho Waddler, but I don't see myself trying to talk you into doing what Macho Waddler wants, right? But that really is how the Trump administration crafted its tariff policy. That's where Trump came up with the tariff idea. Circulating a fake memo from a fake person with a fake email address in order to make it look like this was a serious issue being debated by real experts. That is the intellectual basis on which Donald Trump today wiped $6 trillion of wealth out of existence and crashed America's markets and brought America and the world to the brink of a self-inflicted, on-purpose, global Great Depression.
At this point, it just seems like she's kicking him. I'm gonna leave. I like her, but I mean, it's an easy target. It's easy to take shots at him up there. He's just standing on a fucking pole while we shoot spit wads at him. I mean, you know, he's an idiot, but I mean, it's an easy target. He's not going anywhere. He's out there for you to just kick around. I kind of get sick of the bullying after a bit. I'm not defending him. Fuck him and his stupid, worthless traitor ass. I'd see him in prison. But I'm kind of sick of you guys kicking him around like some kind of fucking kid on the goddamn blacktop. It feels like you're the bully and he's the kid on the blacktop. And I'm sorry, I'm not saying back off him. I'm saying that's what it looks like. That's the optics. Here's Legal Eagle from 37 minutes ago.
Rule them. Now, if I was a betting man, I'm not sure I would bet against the tariffs, especially with this particular Supreme Court. But by the same token, there is a decent chance that these tariffs get overruled. So let's talk about what happened and what's going to happen. On April 2nd, from the serene backdrop of the White House Rose Garden, Trump dropped an economic bomb with reverberations felt around the world. During an announcement he dubbed Liberation Day, for reasons, Trump declared the imposition of sweeping tariffs against our country's trade partners, which unleashed global panic and confusion over how these tariffs were calculated and the immediate international threats of retaliatory measures. In fact, the very next day, Chinese lawmakers, for when celebrating a national holiday, they hit back, imposing a brutal 34% tariff on all American imports that mirrors the tariffs that President Trump ostensibly put on Chinese imports. And so the U.S. stock market crashed even further. Apple, for example, lost $311 billion in market value, Tesla lost $143 billion in market value, and the bloodbath continues. But Trump and his administration are telling Americans to just take a big picture view, because we're definitely headed for a glorious stock market boom any day now. Just trust me, bro. Yes, that's right. Trump wants us to believe that an economic death spasm rivaling the COVID pandemic will somehow inure to our economic benefit. Trump himself has likened the wounded economy to a patient recovering from a traumatic operation. He took to Truth Social to proclaim, quote, "The operation is over, the patient lived and is healing." But in a televised speech, President Trump announced the imposition of a 10% baseline tariff on all foreign imports to the United States. Trump also proclaimed additional punitive customized tariffs on roughly 60 of the world's, quote, worst offenders, or countries that Trump seems to think charge higher tariffs on U.S. goods out of malice, impose non-tariff barriers to U.S. trade, or have otherwise behaved in ways the administration feels undermines U.S. economic goals. But spoiler alert, for the most part, that's complete nonsense. But these custom-made tariffs include a 20% tariff on EU goods, a 46% tariff on goods from Vietnam, a 54% tariff on Chinese goods, which includes earlier tariffs, a 32% tariff on goods from Switzerland, a 24% tariff on goods from Japan, a 37% tariff on goods from Thailand, a 32% tariff on goods from Taiwan, a 49% tariff on goods from Cambodia, and a 50% tariff on goods from Lesotho. And on top of these sweeping measures, Trump confirmed the imposition of a new American 25% tariff on all foreign-made automobiles. Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick explained the tariffs as a way to get other countries to stop picking on us. And in a similar vein, Vice President Vance defended the tariffs as a way to ensure that foreign countries, quote, can't take advantage of us anymore. And Trump himself stated that he imposed the tariffs because global trade deficits were, quote, not fair. We're really not taking it anymore. So to usher in a, quote, golden age for America, Trump announced his newest executive order imposing what he called reciprocal tariffs, which are not reciprocal, as punishment for these made-up international trade crimes.
In a few moments, I will sign a historic executive order instituting reciprocal tariffs on countries throughout the world. Reciprocal, that means they do it to us and we do it to them.
Now, within hours after their proclamation, countries were scrambling to determine how on earth Trump had calculated these reciprocal punitive tariff rates. Vietnam's Deputy Minister of Finance pointed out that Trump's 46% tariff on Vietnamese goods bore little resemblance to Vietnam's 9.4% average levy on American goods.
What's my...
Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez
challenged the
reciprocity of figures Trump used to calculate tariffs against the EU, and Switzerland's President Karin Keller-Sutter told reporters
that won't do. I
Switzerland
dumped my
cannot
potions.
understand the calculations underlying its tariff rate of 32% because Switzerland doesn't have any tariffs against the United States. And Trump's Rose Garden speech gave little insight to how the tariffs were calculated, pointing to a chart listing purported bad actors and the purported tariff rates that they were charging the U.S. Trump explained that, quote, for nations that treat us badly, we will calculate their combined rate of all their tariffs, non-monetary trade barriers, and other forms of cheating, which left world leaders scratching their heads. And it appears that journalist James Surowiecki was the first one to figure out that the Trump administration had relied on a simple, incredibly stupid calculation. All they did was calculate the trade deficit between one country and the United States and divided that by its exports to the U.S., which was a far cry from calculations based on tariff rates.
Don't do the math. It'll depress you.
And as Ian Dunn summarized, Trump's team appears to have taken the U.S. trade's deficit with the country and divided it.
Yeah, if you do the math, it's going to freak you out. It's going to freak you out. Don't do it. Avoid spidery thoughts. Avoid spidery thoughts. Don't do the Trump math. The Trump math will terrify you. Don't do it.
And presented it as a 64% tariff. It's hard to state just how nonsensical
64% is so fucking stupid, you piece of shit moron.
And use it to calculate your mortgage rate. To criticize it on political or economic grounds is too generous.
He said it right.
It operates below the level of rational thought. James Surowiecki
below the level of rational thought.
It's also important to understand
that's the Republican Party,
that foreign countries are supposedly charging us are just made up numbers. South Korea, with which we have a trade agreement, is not charging a 50% tariff on U.S. exports, nor is the EU charging a 39% tariff. Oh, and if you're wondering why Lesotho had such a high tariff rate, it's because they produce diamonds, we buy their diamonds, and as a developing economy, they really don't buy anything from the U.S. So they're not charging the U.S. a 100% tariff. There just happens to be a very large trade imbalance between the two countries. So after Trump presented his made-up trade deficit numbers, the Office of the United States Trade Representative later released its methodology, showcasing a mathematical equation, which critics have decried as, quote, what happens when you ask ChatGPT to make my wrong econ math look more scientific. And while this formula might look intimidating, as many have pointed out, two of the elements cancel each other out, making it nothing more than a trade deficit with the particular country divided by the country's exports. Now, I want to emphasize this point. The tariffs listed in Trump's chart are not the tariffs that countries were charging on U.S. imports. A tariff is a tax on imported goods. But by the Trump administration's own admission, the percentages were, quote, tariffs charged on the USA, including currency manipulation and trade barriers. So theoretically, they are adding together tariffs and quantified currency manipulation and quantified trade barriers somehow. Okay, but that is also wrong. That does not describe the percentages that are on that chart. The point of the formula that the Trump administration used, nonsensical or not, by their own admission, was to calculate what tariffs the U.S. would need to impose, or what change in tariffs the U.S. would need to impose, to remove the current trade imbalance with any particular country and bring the trade imbalance to zero. Now, a trade imbalance, aka a trade deficit or trade surplus, is simply the difference between the value of the goods and services a given country imports from the U.S. in comparison to the value of the goods and services that the U.S. imports from that country. Though, interesting to note, it looks like the Trump administration only looked at goods and not services, making any trade deficit look much bigger than it probably actually is. But in any event, there are lots of economists who believe that the relative bilateral trade imbalance with any particular country is irrelevant. Just completely important. Who cares? It's like saying that you have a trade imbalance with the supermarket since you buy more goods, groceries, such an old word, from the supermarket than they buy from you. But the thing is, the Trump administration gets that calculation wrong too. Generally, the Trump administration just took the amount of what they are purporting as the necessary tariff to remove any trade imbalance and divide it by 2 with a floor of 10%. So on the left-hand side of the column, they purport to say what is the necessary trade increase to remove any trade imbalance. But generally they say they will only implement half of that necessary tariff. Weird. And then they use an arbitrary minimum of a 10% tariff. Weirder. And then they apply the minimum tariff of 10% even when the U.S. has a trade surplus with that country, meaning that that country buys more goods and services from the U.S. than we buy from them. Pundits were appalled with one CEO calling the imposition of, quote, reciprocal tariffs based on incoherent non-tariff calculations as incomprehensible, and another lambasting it as, quote, the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Yet another critic described the tariff calculations as exhibiting, quote, blithering, staggering, mind-boggling, jaw-cracking, gums-bleeding stupidity. And adding insult to injury, economists were quick to investigate the academic literature cited in the methodology, which, upon close reading, actually shows that Trump's math is off by a factor of about 400%. Because of course it is. So they couldn't even do their own calculations correctly. And as many pointed out, some of the territories targeted by the baseline tariff, such as the Heard and McDonald Islands, don't even have human populations, but are instead inhabited by penguins. Possibly because they came up with all this nonsense using AI. So that's fun. Now, if you're using dubious legal authority to destroy the U.S. economy, you want a good lawyer. But if you want a great lawyer, my law firm, the Eagle Team, can help. If you've gotten in a car crash, suffered a data breach, especially if you got a data breach letter saying your information might have been leaked, or dealing with a workers' comp or social security issue, we can represent you or help find you the right attorney. And by the way, we don't get paid unless you do, so there's nothing up front. So just click on the link in the description or call the phone number on screen for a free consultation with my team. Because you don't just need a legal team, you need the Eagle Team. So click below. Now, as legal justification for the tariffs, Trump issued a new executive order declaring a national emergency with respect to foreign, quote, trade practices that contribute to large and persistent annual United States goods trade deficits under the 1977 International Emergency Economic Powers Act, or IEPA. This act gives the president powers to regulate various financial transactions where there is, quote, any unusual and extraordinary threat which has its source in whole or in substantial part outside the United States to the national security, foreign policy, or economy of the United States if the president declares a national emergency with respect to such threat. Now, to take a step back for a moment, the U.S. president has no...
Okay, guys, this is the end of my shift. I'm sorry it's so loud, but as you can hear, it's coming down really hard, and I've got to go drive in this right now. But I gotta go shopping here at the end of this shift. It's been 18 hours and 20 minutes. I haven't done a long double like this in a long time, but I managed to kind of get most of the way through it. I'm gonna go shopping and get home and eat, and I'll probably get in bed by like 7:30. I'll sleep until probably 3 or 4 in the morning, and I'll try to get a very early start, and I'll be up like probably around like 5 or 6 or something like that. You've been watching I don't know, maybe earlier, 2 or 3, I really don't know. You've been watching Skycatlive. I'm a full-time variety gamer all day, every day. Put me on in the background. Click on the cat space to donate. Come to the Twitch or the YouTube. And, that's all. So, I love you guys. And, that's all. I have many thousands of videos on my YouTube channel. So I'm just thinking about all the stuff I have to do for, like, after this shift ends. Just a reminder, I have thousands of videos on my YouTube channel, which is reflected here, getting lots of views and stuff lately. Ooh, 4 views just even yesterday. That's fucking awesome, you know? Hells yeah, but it's great. I'm doing good. I'm enjoying it. Thank you so much for watching a lot of Final Fantasy and a lot of Mortal and a lot of Eve and a lot of FFXI. As you can see, I'm logging off all these various different games and stuff. Good night, Eve, and good night, fucking Mortal 2, and good night, Sweet Prince, or whatever. I don't know, Watchdogs of Lancashire or something. And, yes, and I'm going to, and I'm going to go to bed. I'm exhausted. It has been an 18-hour shift, and I'm just, like, blathering now. I love you guys. I am going to go shopping and then go to bed. I gotta go pick up the mail. I'm not going shopping. I'm gonna go pick up the mail. I love you guys. I will stop the shift here. This video will end, and this stream will end in 90 seconds.